Force is strong in my family. The Force is strong in my family. My father has it. My father has it. I have it. I have it. My sister has it. My sister has it. You have that power too. You have that power too. In time, you'll learn to use it as I have.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Chewie, we're home.
My Nerd World.
All right, so let me just put the spoiler alert right up front. I should probably do that with every podcast, right? You know, but the kind of spoilers that I do on the show, you know, I try to keep it where, you know, if it's something real big that I think, you know, would take it too far, then I'll give you like an extra spoiler warning, that kind of thing. Like before The Force Awakens came out and pretty much knew that Han was going to bite it, spoiler alert. That one I kept under wraps for, you know, because that was a big one. But I'm staring at a action figure for Star Wars Rebels of Darth Maul. This is out of the New York Toy Fair. A new look at Star Wars Rebel Darth Maul from the Toy Fair. Looks pretty cool, especially since, if you remember, Darth Maul came back in the Clone Wars cartoon, which I had kind of a hard time with that. It felt very Marvel Cinematic Universe-esque, even though it happened really before the Marvel Cinematic Universe took off. But when I was thinking about how they brought Darth Maul back, it kind of negates, to a certain extent, what happens in the Phantom Menace, right? And I never really was that hugely into that particular storyline in the Clone Wars. I mean, eventually it got good when it came to the Night Sisters, when it came to, what was the other guy from his planet's name now? And I can't, it escapes me. I haven't watched Clone Wars in a while, so my apologies for that. So it got better. I know I didn't like how he had like the weird spider legs in the beginning. And then even when he got his other mechanical legs, I thought they were still too mechanically, right? Well, this action figure for Star Wars Rebels, he still has a mechanical lower body, but it's more streamlined to what he actually looks like. I mean, because he would, right? I mean, why couldn't he get, you've got droids, you've got battle droids, you've got protocol droids. Why couldn't Darth Maul, if he could survive being cut in half and losing his lower extremities, why could he not have a lower half of his body that actually looked and matched the rest of his body? And that's what you get in this Darth Maul action figure, and what we're going to get in Star Wars Rebels with Darth Maul. Also has a new double-bladed lightsaber, different one than he had before. The center hilt looks a little bit different. Now, I don't know what the context of this new iteration of Darth Maul in Rebels is. I do find it rather interesting on a couple of different levels. One, is Darth Maul going to be the catalyst potentially to what brings Ezra in Rebels potentially to the dark side? A lot of people are speculating that. Will he meet his fate in Rebels? Because there's a lot of chatter about Ewan McGregor not only reprising his role as Obi Wan Kenobi in Episode 8 as a Force ghost, but also having spin-off movies, a Star Wars story, anthology films based off of Obi Wan Kenobi that could potentially take place in his years leading up to A New Hope. In which case, I would imagine that one of those could certainly entail Darth Maul. I mean, that would be kind of cool. to bring The Force Awakens sort of full circle and do a Star Wars story, Obi Wan Kenobi spinoff movie of him living on Tatooine, and Darth Maul comes to seek his revenge. And so it doesn't appear that seems like that's just going to be Fantasyland based off of the fact that we're going to get Darth Maul in Rebels, and at some point he has to bite it, right? I mean, sometime before A New Hope, he can't still be around. So, are they going to go and seal the deal in Star Wars Rebels when it comes to Darth Maul? And look, as I sort of hash it out, that makes the most sense. I'm not sure the general audience, the general movie-going audience would really be on board. The casual Star Wars fan with an Obi Wan Kenobi movie that had Darth Maul in it, those individuals that don't watch Rebels and those individuals that didn't watch Clone Wars. Okay, so it makes sense that they would resolve the Darth Maul arc, if you will, from Clone Wars into Rebels in Rebels. So that really brings about the question of, well, what happens? Does Darth Vader take him out? Does Obi-Wan make an appearance and take him out? It raises some interesting possibilities. Now, here is a theory, and again, spoiler alert. One of the titles for the 1 hour season finale of this season of Star Wars Rebels is Twilight of the Apprentice. And people who are close to the Star Wars Rebels cartoons are saying that's referencing specifically Ahsoka, not Ezra. And so, obviously, this is raising quite a bit of concern among Ahsoka fans that the battle that we're waiting for in Star Wars Rebels between Ahsoka and Darth Vader / Anakin, we may be getting sooner than later, meaning this season. And at some point, she has to bite it too, right? I mean, so my example and reference towards Darth Maul in making that comment is perhaps Ahsoka takes out Darth Maul, and that gives her a proper send-off before she succumbs to Darth Vader. Just pure speculation. I will say this, and ultimately this is what I wanted to say. The Darth Maul action figure looks really cool. He looks like Darth Maul again. I'm digging it. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I always liked the Darth Maul character. I thought he should have been utilized more in the Phantom Menace, and he wasn't. And so it's nice to see him back sort of in his regular form, albeit robotic legs, but you see a little bit of metal on the knees. The rest of it's all black, and then he has his tattooed red and black upper body. So it's cool to see that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what transpires in Rebels. And hopefully Rebels begins to pick up a bit. This season's been kind of disappointing. I know they've done more episodes, but the spinoff sort of separate stories, I'm not enjoying nearly as much. I really like the show, but the last couple of weeks have kind of been the space whales this week didn't really do a whole heck of a lot for me. Rebels doesn't have as much money as the Clone Wars did in terms of production value, and I'm used to the animation, and I think it's good, but the thing that Clone Wars did really well was the show itself looked so good that a lot of times that made up for any shortcomings that Clone Wars might have had because they were doing offshoot storylines. Whereas with Rebels, if you've just got a one-off, you don't really have the visual dynamic there to close the gap to make it a better episode. Look, and I'm probably being too harsh. Last week's episode was Zeb when they went through the maw. That was pretty cool. I did enjoy that. I thought the music for that was pretty cool. But I want more of the through storyline for Rebels. I want more of Vader and where these characters are going, and so it looks like the latter half of the season is definitely going to be heading that direction. So that is your 10-minute intro to episode number 40 of the My Nerd World Star Wars podcast. Welcome to it. I'm your host, Jon Justice. Got a couple of things I want to run through today. We're actually going to talk a little bit about the Phantom Menace because I watched it the other night, and it was the first time that I'd watched a Star Wars movie since all the times that I had seen The Force Awakens. And I was very curious as to whether or not it was going to have an effect on my movie, my original 6 movie watching experience. And it did, in a good way. And I'm really looking forward to working through the movies again now, because it had a pretty profound effect on watching The Phantom Menace, surprisingly. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the podcast. I will continue, time permitting, to covering the vehicles, and we'll do original trilogy vehicles, much like we did last week with the prequel vehicles. I'm going to run through my list of favorite, honorable mention, and least favorite from the 4 movies. So we'll do 4, 5, 6, and 7 if there's time. I want to start off with a little bit of news. I got a couple of news items here, including the Obi Wan in Episode 8 that we'll get to here in just a moment. First off, though, there's a toy show going on. The New York Toy Fair has been taking place, and as a matter of fact, I have not gone to see whether or not there was any new items revealed today. I know that Hasbro did their panel yesterday, and apart from some Black Series figures that we hadn't seen before, they did a Sabine, Kanan I'd seen. They did a New Hope Princess Leia. Those were pretty cool. There really wasn't anything new. Certainly nothing as it relates to Rogue One was on display. I'm just going to I'm going to a particular website here. I want to see if they've got... Oh, here we go. This is kind of fun. So this just popped up. Jedi Temple Archives has a list of rumored Rogue One vehicles. Looking at what's here, though, nothing really standing out in terms of description. We've got a Hero Droid figure, Shark Trooper Deluxe Blaster figure, SEAL Communicator Deluxe Blaster figure, and we've heard some rumors about Rogue One in referring to certain segments of the Empire as, or I mean, it might be Empire, I'm assuming, unless it's Rebels, but Shark Troopers, Sharks, and SEALs. There seems to be some wordplay there, and according to this list that I'm looking here in front of me, that particular leaked piece of information seems to be coming to fruition. And then we also know that one of the lead characters, played by Andy Tudyk, is going to be CGI, and we're hearing he might be a rather large military-esque droid. So, anyway, Toy Fair going on this weekend. Nothing new other than that. Just thanks for indulging me there. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. One of the other things that was announced, though, apart from the Toy Fair, because there were some Lego toys on display that gave us a hint of what was going on, and then we got the official word. There's a couple of new Lego shows that are coming out. And these are fun because my son, Kyle, is way into, I mean, our whole house is. We're way into Lego. Love the Lego movie, and Kyle watches a lot of the Lego shows. We're getting a brand new series called the Freemaker series, which I think is rather interesting. I don't know if Freemaker is supposed to be referencing like a type of building, right? In terms of Lego building, or if Freemaker is sort of the in-universe name for something. There's some new ships involved with it, brand new characters. All that we know about it is it's going to be a Lego TV show, brand new storyline that takes place between Empire and Jedi. It looks pretty interesting. We haven't seen any footage from it yet, and it's not necessarily canon, doing that thing with my fingers. I don't think there's anything in it that would refute anything else. The storyline is taking place, again, between Empire and Jedi, and the characters in the story is not going to have any major impact on the saga films or anything else. The other one, and this one I'm way more excited about. There's another Lego show. Don't know when these are going to start yet. But it's called Star Wars: The Resistance Rises. And it is going to